Okay. The school community session. The board invites members of the community to speak on topics to be addressed in the agenda or on other topics of interest. Individuals wishing to make a comment are requested to fill out the speaker sign-up sheet, including your name and address, which must also be stated at the beginning of your comment. The board will not allow comments regarding specific staff members or personal grievances. Courtesy is expected in this limited public forum. Participating time will be limited to 3 minutes per person and 10 minutes overall. The emergency exits are located at the rear and to the right of the room. Please follow the hallway to the stairwell on the right and downstairs to exit the building. Yeah, no, isn't it? I felt like I should go. Okay, first speaker is Craig Audion.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Craig Audion, the Chief Steward for the custodians assigned here at THS Heights. I would like to briefly touch on the custodial restructuring plan. In theory, it is not a bad plan, but as presented, it has flaws. The plan calls for creating a 6-person maintenance group. To achieve this goal, the 6 bodies will be pulled mostly from the interior of the schools. Their duties currently are cleaning the buildings, so in essence, stealing from Peter to pay Paul. This is where the buildings become at risk. Over the last 10 years, we've lost, on average, a custodian a year, all through retirement. This year is the exception. We've lost 2, one through retirement and an actual layoff. This has posed a huge challenge for our department. Let's take the high school, for example. When I started back in February of '03, there were 12 custodians assigned to THS, 6 days, 6 nights. Currently, there are 8, 4 day, 4 night. Under the new plan, it would be 5 total, 2 day, 3 night. Over the years, we've all adjusted to the manpower loss. We've absorbed their duties. We've learned to prioritize, rotate duties, basically done a lot more with a lot less. But if this plan is implemented as presented, it will be near impossible to further absorb the added workload, putting TPS's staff and children at risk. Secondly, I have real concern over administration's potential to mismanage the probablys, the more than likelys, and the definitelys that will arise daily, hourly, and by the minute under this new plan. Finally, if it is the board's intent to save money implementing this plan, it could be a reality. But as presented, it would ultimately cost more with the chaos it would create. Furthermore, if this plan is implemented as presented, we as custodians will give it our all to make it work. But if it fails, and I am certain it will in some way, shape, or form, I refuse to let the finger of blame be pointed at this department by administrators or the Board of Ed, because I will certainly point it back and say, no, I told you so. Thank you.
Good evening. Bill Burgess. I live in Litchfield and oftentimes find myself working with the community and schools of Torrington. I'd just like to review a brief note that I've drafted, and I have copies for you all with a couple of attachments. As the Board of Education considers adoption of a new, more comprehensive school wellness policy, I want to express my personal appreciation, along with the similar sentiments of Carla Angevine from the hospital, Dr. Michael Curie, and the Fit Together team for inviting us to participate on the ad hoc committee to draft a proposed policy for consideration. Our work began over a year ago under the consistently sound guidance of Vince Marola, Ellen Honing, and Cheryl Klocko. In my view, it has been an impressive and painstakingly collaborative effort. Most impressive has been the dedication and perseverance of boots-on-the-ground administrators, teachers, and staff along with the productive counsel of a passionate parent volunteer. Their proposed policy is what they believe to be practical and reasonable for Torrington's public schools. The goal is a comprehensive approach to child health that engages teachers and staff and invites community participation over the long haul. My hope is that you will consider this to be no less significant or important than any other policy that you rely on for educating the whole child. The scientific evidence in support of this investment of time and effort in human capital of students, teachers, and staff, while yet imperfect, is powerful and compelling. It is deserving of action to follow the lead of school districts in Connecticut and the nation that have taken the lead to discover best practice procedures and programs impacting health, wellness, students' readiness to learn, and academic performance. We must engage our kids where they are, with most of their day being spent in the school environment. And we can't ignore the research conclusion that community programs with engagement from schools weigh in everyone's favor. For the first time in history, this generation is expected to die 5 years younger than their parents. Let's do the best we can and be the best that we can be to give them those 5 years back. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to help in charting a course towards a healthier community. Thank you.
Barbara Bird.
Hi, I'm Barbara Burke. This is my son Cole. Hi, Cheryl Peterson, my daughter Tamia. My son goes to Head Start, and about last month there was a lockdown in 3 of the major elementary schools. And don't do that, baby. And my biggest concern is, why wasn't Head Start called? There's children there also. From what I've heard from teachers, if my son went to school that week, the cops came flying through the parking lot where my kid's classroom was outside. They almost hit one of our teachers at the school. You know, I don't understand why all the other schools were on lockdown, but yet Head Start itself had to come and do their own lockdown for the safety of our children. You know, if Head Start was called at the same time, my son's classroom wouldn't have been outside. Those kids would not have been in danger. They found the guy in the parking lot of Head Start. Why isn't his school considered a school? And why wasn't his school called for a lockdown? Like, these kids are the future, you know, and because of that not being called in, some of his friends were almost lost if it wasn't for one of the teachers there to push them out of the way, because the cops just kind of flew in, not really giving a care in the world who was in the parking lot. So I want to know what we can do about that, and if we can get them on the list, them too, because they're a school, they're kids. You know, how can we get Head Start on a lockdown list? How can we get the daycares on a lockdown list? Like, anywhere there's a child, it needs to be on a list. You know, because just because they're not considered a school, but there's children in there. It's part of the education. You know, they're learning too. Like I said, they're part of the future. You know, they're learning to go into, you know, Forbes or Vogel Wetmore. You know, so I want to know why we weren't put on the lockdown and how to get them on that list.
Mommy,
So,
Thank you.
all right, thank you. Okay, we're going to get you tissue. Come on.
Casey Peruse.
Has Bruce, and this is Alyssa Picard, and we go to school here at Torrington High School. I'm the producer of Food for Thought, a film we made for the Civic Life Project because we were displeased with the school food.
In our film, we include a segment about the Wellness Committee.
We have heard about upcoming changes to the wellness policy and are here tonight to express our willingness to be involved in decisions that affect us and help make a difference.
If you would like to see our film, we can arrange that at a later date. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, item number 4, approval of the agenda.
I need to amend the agenda. Make a motion to, under information sharing and discussion, 5G, wellness policies should be first read, and under action item F should be removed.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the agenda as amended? Opposed? Any other discussion? Joe, go ahead. Oh, sorry. Informational sharing. We do not have our student representatives, so we're going to move into the announcement of the kindergarten fire truck ride for August 2013.
And I need our volunteer to come forward, please. Miss Peterson, who is a kindergartner at East School. Thank you for doing this for us tonight. Okay, I gotta put it up high so you can't see the name. All right. Pick one. Pink one. Oh, wait a minute. Of course, I left my glasses up there. Oh, let's see. I can't read it. David, I have to get my glasses. Thank you. And we do have David A. Woodruff, and he is on 235 Chestnut Avenue in Torrington, and he'll be attending Southwest School. So David will be our kindergartner who gets to ride to school on the fire truck the first day of school next year.
Okay. C, recognition of retiring teachers. We have in our packet. Mr. Kisko, would you like to start us off? Read the remarks about Mr. Capilupo, and then we'll go around the table until we run out of time.
As soon as I can find it. Mr. David Capilupo, Torrington High School Mathematics, with 35 years of service. Mr. Capilupo started his teaching career here in Torrington in 1978. He taught at the Vogel Junior High School until 1994, when Torrington Middle School was opened. Mr. Capilupo served as coordinating teacher for mathematics at Torrington Middle School for several years. He has spent the last 5 years teaching at Torrington High School.
Mrs. Pamela Chambers, Forbes School Art, 35 years. Ms. Chambers began her career in Torrington in 1978 as a district art teacher. In 1986, Pam was based at the Forbes Elementary School, where she has taught art until the present. For the past 6 years, she has shared some time at other elementary schools in Torrington.
Ms. Ann Dillon, speech pathologist, 33.6 years. Ms. Dillon began her career in Torrington in 1978 as an elementary school speech pathologist. Throughout her career, she has worked mainly at Torrington Elementary.
Mr. Rick Fasciano, Torrington Middle School Science, 34 years. Mr. Fasciano began his teaching career as a science teacher at the Vogel Junior High School in 1978. Rick moved to the Torrington Middle School when it opened in 1994. Mr. Fasciano has coached basketball, track, and football. He has done an outstanding job supervising the Invention Convention, where many students have been recognized for outstanding inventions.
Miss Linda Higginson, Torrington Middle School science teacher, 18 years of service. Miss Higginson began her Torrington assignment as a science and language arts teacher in 1995. After her first year in Torrington, she has taught science exclusively. Prior to working in Torrington, she taught in the Watertown and Winston School District.
Ms. Joan Kowicki, Vogel Wetmore School, grade 2, 23 years of service. Mrs. Kowicki was hired in 1990 to teach second grade at Forbes Elementary School. In 1996, she moved to the Vogel Wetmore School, where she has taught second grade until her retirement announcement this year. Before coming to Torrington, Ms. Kowicki taught in the Avon Public School System.
Miss Nancy Lamb, Torringford School, special education, 25.8 years. Miss Lamb started her Torrington career in 1986 as a long-term substitute. She was signed to join the East School staff as a special education teacher in 1987. In 1994, she moved over to the Torringford Elementary School and has remained there ever since. Prior to working in Torrington, she worked in private schools in the northwest corner.
Mrs. Betty Jo McDonald, Torrington Middle School Guidance Department, 14.9 years. Mrs. McDonald was hired in 1997 as an elementary guidance counselor substitute. In January of 1999, she was hired full-time to fill this position. In 2003, she transferred to Torrington Middle School, where she has continued until this year. Prior to working in Torrington, she was employed by New Milford Public School System and by a private Northwest Corner School.
Excuse me, Miss Mary Beth Roscoe, Torrington High School, English. Ms. Roscoe began her teaching career in 1984 at Torrington High School, where she has taught English for her entire teaching career, except for 2 years at the Vogel Junior High School from 1990 to 1992.
Ms. Karen Schick, elementary, talented and gifted, 15 years. Ms. Schick began her Torrington assignment as a teacher of the talented and gifted in 1997 and has worked with Torrington's talented and gifted elementary students until her retirement this year. Prior to working in Torrington, she was employed in the Harwinton and West Hartford school systems.
Miss Christine Cisco, Torrington Middle School, Social Studies, 39 years. Ms. Cisco began her teaching career in Torrington in 1973 at the now-closed South School, teaching grade 5. After assignments in grade 3 and 4, she moved to the Vogel Junior High School in 1982 to teach language arts. She moved to the new Torrington Middle School when it opened in 1994, where she continued to teach language arts until 2008. From 2008 to the present, she has taught social studies at Torrington Middle School.
Ms. Tara Thompson, Southwest School Special Education, 26.7 years. Ms. Thompson was hired as a special education teacher at Southwest School in December of 1986. She has taught her entire career at Southwest School.
Ms. Elaine Town, East School Art, 35 years. Ms. Town was hired in 1978 as a district-wide elementary art teacher. Throughout her career, she has been assigned primarily to the East Elementary School.
Mr. William Jocelyn, Director of Student and Professional Operations, 9.5 years. Mr. Jocelyn was hired as principal of the Vogel Wetmore Elementary School in January of 2003. In 2007, he moved to the central office as Director of Human Resources. The position was restructured in 2010 to Director of Student and Professional Operations. Prior to coming to Torrington, Mr. Jocelyn had been a teacher and administrator in Region 10, Harwinton and Burlington, and Region 6, Warren, Forest, and Goshen.
This year's retirees represent a combined total of 374.5 years of service to the Torrington Public Schools, and we wish them well in their retirement. The superintendent's report.
Well, I have some very nice news to share tonight. First, I would like to recognize students from Torrington High School who, at the 10th Annual Halo Award Ceremony, the Torrington High School Student Theater won 2 awards for excellence in theater. They include Best Acting in an Ensemble Play for our production of All of Us. The cast members were Devin Bartosiewicz, Gabrielle Sanciolo, Brianna Cole, Adam Everett, Hunter Goddard, Julia Hagman Pettit, Christina Hammer, Thomas Graham, Morgan Kolakisa, I apologize, Alexa Jade Kramer, Bethany Lacasa, James Lamson, Felice Magistrali, Richard Merrill, Matthew O'Leary, Lindsay Peterson, Alex Polson, and Matthew Scoville. Best Special Effect Award was awarded to Jaeger Peruse for his video of the prodigal son in Godspell. This is an excellent, excellent representation at the Halo Awards by Torrington Public Schools Theater Program.